Yes, YouTube, what is happening? This week's video is going to be a mini Q&A. I will try not to ramble too much. The reason being is that I've promised myself that I will upload at least one video to YouTube a week. And being really honest, I have absolutely nothing to film this week. Next week, after this goes out, will be Berlin, Hyrox, so I'll be able to film, again, another weekend vlog or sort of a week of training in the lead up to that. But for now, I thought this was the best thing to do and gives me a chance to talk a little bit more about what I actually do and plans for the future, work, life, etc. So I have asked for questions from Instagram and got some off my story. There are quite a few. I've just picked 10 to 12 of the most interesting, best ones and tried to create sort of a good blend of questions so it's not all talking about the same thing. I will try not to ramble too much, and as always, I will try to be as honest as I possibly can, or I'm comfortable being online. But yeah, like I said, hopefully it's not too rambly for you, and hopefully some of you enjoy it and it gives you a little bit more insight into me. So, number one, what do you do for work? So I got asked this on Instagram the other week, and it shocked me a little bit that people didn't actually know what I did. I don't know if everyone just thought I was a dosser, but I am at the moment predominantly a online coach. Mostly 95% of my online clients are training for Hyrox or training to get better at Hyrox. I do still work one-to-one, coaching people face-to-face in the gym 4 days a week from Tuesday to Friday, anywhere from 19 to 22, 23 hours depending on the week. I have done that since the back end of 2020, and I have always flirted with the idea of going, fully online. However, especially the clients I've got now, I feel a little bit of a sense of loyalty to them. Some of them have been with me for a very long time, and I do enjoy our sessions. I do enjoy spending time with them, and also when I have done longer sustained periods, even 3, 4, 5 days of completely working from home or sat behind my laptop, I find myself by the end of it getting a little bit restless, and I do quite like the touch points, the face-to-face, the one-to-one coaching with people. I think it's looked down upon a little bit in the coaching world currently, or I think that everyone who becomes a PT or a coach is so desperate to get to that holy grail of, I don't know, sat in Dubai or sat in Australia or sat in Bali when they can just sit on the laptop all day on a beach, which I think is a real shame, because you miss a really important, rewarding part of coaching, and that's being with people face to face. Number 2, best advice for a newly qualified PT looking to start their career in coaching. I would say different people give you different answers, but I believe now, looking back, that I should have niched down on something a lot sooner. I know a lot of people say because you don't know what your niche is at the start, that it's a terrible word, but you don't know what your niche is at the start, that you have to sort of try multiple things. But if you do have something you're really passionate about and that you enjoy doing, or you enjoy coaching, whether that be strength and conditioning, whether that be training people to run a faster 10K, whether that be fat loss or whatever, go all in on that and get really good at it. And I think as well, obviously social media is a big way to sell yourself now, probably the biggest way for coaches. See it all the time where people are attracting or aren't attracting the clients that they want. For example, people are talking about improving the relationship with food, or moving away from the scales, or improving body image, and every other photo of theirs is a fucking topless picture bent over in the mirror, given the best angle. I know I'm partial to the topless picture, but you get my point. And they then wonder why everyone's asking them questions around how to look better, how to lose weight, etc, etc. So I would say that whatever it is that you're almost trying to focus on and niche down on, and the type of people you want to work with, aim to speak to them. So if you want to, it sounds that obvious, but people miss it all the time. If you want to coach people to get faster at 10K and they're the people you want to work with, then speak about those things and do content based around those things. If you don't want to coach people on nutrition, or you don't want to coach people to lose fat loss. Stop talking about fucking food all the time. Stop being so obsessed with or over aesthetics, and stop making your whole page based around the way you look. I would also say that you need to learn to say no very early on, and not just say no, you need to not let people take the piss out of you very early on. You almost need to set your stall out and be quite strong. And I know it's really hard at the start, and it's easy for me to say now because I'm in a position where, or in a bit more of a position where I can say no to people, and maybe at the start I couldn't do that because you are desperate for clients in a way, and you are desperate for income, and it can be quite daunting. But like I say, you can't let people take the piss out of you, and that's with people being late, people bargaining on price, people asking for offers, people, you know, texting you at fucking 9:30, 10 at night wanting a reply. You have to be really, really strong early on, and people will respect you for that. And if they don't respect you for that, and they don't like that, then they're probably not the type of people you want to work with anyway. And then also, if you're going into a gym, talk to as many people as you possibly can, be seen on the gym floor, even if it's tidying weights away, cleaning up, whatever it is, just go and chat to people and just be friendly. I think that's probably the things that I wish I'd have done a little bit earlier, and it's taken me longer to realise that than I wish it would have. Number 3, why do you think Redon works so well for all the athletes? So for anyone who doesn't know, if you follow me on Instagram, then you will know I'm coached by a coaching company called Redon. They originally started out more military based and preparing people for, you know, the physical preparedness tests in the army, military, etc., etc. And sort of over the last few years have transitioned into working with different levels of athletes, and now obviously a really big push on Hyrox. They are all obviously very, 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 very good, knowledgeable coaches, but there are a lot of really good, knowledgeable coaches. I would say the thing that sets them apart is 1, the level of detail, but 2, also just the, not obsession, but the amount of care that they have for everyone, and they do genuinely care and want people to do well. And that sounds really obvious, but for anyone that has worked with, you know, a number of coaches, you'll know what I mean, because there are some that don't. But I think with Redon, and even all the other athletes in sort of like the community, especially in the race team, everyone just wants each other to do well. And because of that, you also, in a way, don't want to let them down, which is very motivating, especially when, you know, there's the hard sessions or the hard time in races and the things that you don't want to do. It's so easy just to think, well, would ... do this, would ... you know, back out of this session, would ... not give 100% here. And when you're surrounded with those type of people, it will only, you know, elevate you tenfold. So I think that's probably the reason that it works so well for everyone. Number 4, what's the one underestimated aspect of Hyrox training? I took this as, what's the one thing that people like don't do enough of, or don't think, or isn't seen as important? My opinion on that answer, if that's what this person meant, changes all the time, and everything seems to go through like flows and cycles from one extreme to another. You know, when Hyrox first came out, no one was doing anywhere near enough running. I think because it was sort of not taken over, but initially it was like people from CrossFit that then did Hyrox, and obviously CrossFitters don't always enjoy running. So people who were programmed for it were programming no way near enough running. Then everyone was like, well, it's a running competition because there's 8k worth of running. Then people did way too much running and not the other stuff, and then it sort of changes again. I think at the minute, I would probably say probably muscular endurance, because I think everyone's now realizing like the importance of top end strength and training legs, etc. But I think those longer workouts with like hideous amounts of volume, and obviously you can't do them all the time. But if you look where most people tend to fall off in races, especially from what I've seen recently, it's not necessarily because their lungs can't keep up. It's not from a cardiovascular point of view, and I know cardiovascular system impacts muscle endurance too, but people's legs, especially after the farmers into the lunges, into the wall balls especially, do tend to sort of give way, or do tend to, you know, fail on them. And yes, that is part of strength, and yes, that is part of being a better runner with a good cardiovascular system. But I think those workouts, and Redon especially, and I program a lot of them, the longer horrible ones that just look like what the fuck is that, with a shit ton of volume. And like I say, you can't do them all the time, but I think training muscular endurance is looked over a hell of a lot. And I would say that's the thing that people probably need to put a little bit more focus on at the minute. Number 5, would you like to be sponsored if you had the chance, if you had the choice? Yes. Depending on the brand. I think it's very easy to get excited, and I don't like it from like the person's point of view, but I also don't like it from the brand's point of view. And I don't think it looks very good when you see like an influx of all of a sudden of, you know, 30, 40, 50 people all with fucking discount codes in their bio, or they're ... athlete, or they're supported by ... I think it looks horrific. I think one, from a personal point of view, because I don't think you'd want to work with a brand that also wants to work with that many people. And from a brand's point of view, it looks like they're just desperate to get their name out there, which I don't think looks good either. I'm under no illusion that I'm nowhere near the level of some people. One, from like an athletic point of view. Two, from an influential point of view in terms of like followers or engagement on social media. But yeah, if a certain brand approached me, or certain brands approach me, then yeah, obviously I don't think anyone would turn that down. But also, it's not like it's not an A goal. It's not a desperation of mine. But yeah, I guess the non-rambly answer to that is yes, depending on the brand. Number 6, what do you think is the perception of you from people who don't know you? Ooh. I think people will probably, I get this feeling that people think I'm quite arrogant, and I try not to be, and I don't mean to be, and I'm not. I think people will probably think I'm very opinionated, which maybe I am, but I also think it's my delivery of things sometimes, because I can be quite ranty on Insta and have opinions about things, which is fine, but I'm not in the sense that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. I'm just given my current opinion, and I'm quite happily to be told I'm wrong, and I've admitted multiple times on social media that I've been wrong about things. How else would people see me? I think probably people see me as some weird, obsessed gym addict who doesn't have a life outside, which I do get quite a lot actually. I get a lot of people tell me that, and that is just not true. I just enjoy fitness, and I enjoy racing, I enjoy the gym, but I also enjoy other things. And I think people need to remember that, I know this sounds mad considering how much I post on Instagram, but if it wasn't for my job and it wasn't for what I did, I would not have Instagram. So I don't share, it may seem like I post a lot, but I don't share every single thing that I do. I get people asking me if I eat chocolate, man. Like, so if that's how I come across, I do apologise, but yeah, I'd probably say quite arrogant, but I try not to be. And I think that people that actually know me would obviously not describe me as that. Probably quite opinionated, and then also some weird Hyrox loser gym addict. Number 7, one thing you really hate. Arrogance, as I just said, maybe people perceive that as me, but I cannot stand people who think they're special or better than everyone else, no matter what level they're at. There's genuinely no excuse to it. I'm not going to get into it too much because I'll just end up ranting about it, but yeah, I can't stand arrogance. Number 8, how old are you? Can't tell if 24 or 48. Cheeky bastard. I'm 28. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've got a baby face, but I don't look young, I don't look old. Starting to lose my hair and go grey, so God knows. But yeah, 28, 29 in 3 months' time. Last year in my 30s, which is pretty scary. Number 9, do you think staying, I feel like I've just missed the question there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, number 9, do you think staying injury free you can challenge for the Elite 15 over the next few years, and if not, what are your goals? That was 2 separate questions, so what are your goals for the next few years in terms of Hyrox racing was a separate one, but I'll put them together. The answer to if I can challenge for the Elite 15 as a solo, absolutely no chance. Unless the top 150, 200 boys decide to not do Hyrox anymore, then no chance. I also think that the sport and the Hyrox hasn't actually scratched the surface yet in terms of the athletes that are going to come over. As soon as 800 metre runners or mile runners or 5k, like serious 5k runners, probably get a whiff of it and maybe start to come over, I think it could be game over. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but I think once they do, then I think everyone's in trouble. So solo, no, and that's not because obviously I would love to, but it's not, I'm not being negative or downplaying myself, I'm just being realistic. Doubles, if they do mixed doubles, or if they start to introduce mixed doubles, then potentially, because of where we are now and where me and Shah rank against other people, but also if they introduce mixed doubles, then also a lot of other people would start doing that, so that would probably put us down again a bit. It's not a massive thing at the minute. Men's doubles, maybe. Me and guys who I race with, or have a race with more than anyone, who I tend to race with and who do worlds with, we think we could maybe get close, and we're going to push for it. But sitting here right now as a solo, then fucking absolutely not. I don't think, and no shade on the person that asked this, but I don't think people realise just how fit, how fast and how strong those top 15 boys are. Even the top even the top 50 boys, never mind the top 15, they are on a completely different level, and they and everyone else just below them is only going to get stronger, faster and fitter. So solo, no. Doubles, let's see what happens. But yeah, sorry, and then goals outside of that, not really any key goals. The doubles thing would be nice and we'll work towards it, but I just want to keep getting faster. I do just genuinely really enjoy the race. I enjoy the training. I always have enjoyed that type of training. I enjoy the competitive side of it. I enjoy the people, being around the people that we're with that do it. It's just fun, and it allows that. I think a lot of the time, once I know girls play sport at school too, but competition for guys in school through sport is really important, and it's a big thing for them. And unless you go to clubs after school or unless you're really high level, you lose that. So I think this, for a lot of people, and it does for me, it allows that element of competition. I know we're only fucking racing against ourselves or whatever people want to say, but you are racing and there are other people there. So I enjoy that. I'm going to say number 10. I think it's number 10. Where did the obsession start with endurance and fitness, and do you think you're addicted? No, I'm not addicted. I would be very sad if I got told I could never do it again, but I'm not addicted. I'm not fucking waking up in the morning shaking like a shitting dog. Can't wait to go on a fucking run or do a Hyrox workout. But I do really enjoy it, and it's a pretty good idea in life to do things that you enjoy. Where did the obsession start? With endurance and fitness, so I always played sport in school, loved sport in school, rugby, football, cricket, played it as much as I could. My dad was huge on that, pushing me with that. In terms of endurance and fitness and running or whatever, I hated running in school. I used to skip PE when we had the 12-minute run, or not come in when we were doing the bleep test. That's how much I hated it. I did my first half marathon in 2019, so when I was 23, if I've got that right. And I only did that because I was supposed to do some white collar charity boxing thing, and that fell through. But obviously I'd committed to doing something and to raise money for something, so I was like, oh, what can I do instead? And did the half marathon. And then since then, done a few longer things since then. I think early on, once I did that half marathon, that was literally just because, I need to do something, and I really enjoyed the day, and then obviously I kept up running. I think early on, and I know so many people do so many wild things now, but back then it wasn't until after COVID or COVID times that everyone started running, and everyone after that people just started banging out marathons for fun and doing these ultras. But I think back then I kind of liked, from an ego point of view, almost being seen as the guy that does all this crazy long stuff. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but it was a nice feeling. I think also as well, I said before about my dad with sport. When I was younger, he wasn't great around that, and there was a few comments occasionally when I had trials for certain things that he made about me not working hard enough. Anyway, long story short, I feel like early on especially that me doing those things and me doing the sort of like crazier endurance events was almost a bit of an FU to him, because obviously I wasn't good enough from a sporting point of view to get to any kind of serious level. But I feel like with endurance and, you know, especially running, and like obviously when I did the Ironman, it's just cycling, running. Obviously swimming is a bit of a difficult skill to learn, but the running and cycling, it just pretty much comes down to like, are you going to keep going, and are you going to work hard enough? So I think I was massively driven by sort of, I mean, not that he knows that I'm doing this, but I was sort of massively driven to sort of shoving that in his face. Now I just kind of like genuinely enjoy it, and I do like those things, and I've met some like really good people doing it, and I couldn't imagine my life without it. But that was what it stemmed from. But yeah, I don't think I'm addicted. I just quite like doing it. Oh, right, on cue. I'm going to say 11. Why are you so big on being a good dad? So anyone who doesn't know, whenever I get asked the question on Insta, like, oh, what's, I don't know, like life goal, or what's goal in the next 5 years, it's normally, well, my answer is typically to be a good parent or start a family, etc., etc. One, I really love kids. I do. And number two, like I mentioned, my dad wasn't great when I was younger, and I think that, not that I want to like right the wrong, but I really want to give a kid a chance to, like, I don't know how to word this, because I have had a good life, like I'm absolutely fine, but I kind of want to give a kid the chance to, you know, have a good dad. And because like, as a young boy, and other people know this too, and I can't speak for, you know, girls because I'm not a girl, but like as a young boy, I think, you know, 99% of us like look to their dad as being this like fucking, you know, superhero and really important person, and he's like the most important thing in your life. And to have one that wasn't great or almost like let you down isn't a nice feeling. So I don't want to be that, and I kind of find I think it's really important for me to try and to try and be the opposite of that. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to come across. I need to watch that back before I fucking post it, Jesus. Number 12, what's one thing that you would change about your life in the last 5 years if you could? Oh, I'll start by saying I hate the phrase in some contexts, everything happened for a reason. I think it's used as a way to sort of like justify or downplay bad things happening to people that shouldn't have happened to them. And it's so easy if you stick around long enough to always find a reason for something happening. But yeah, I think when something bad happens to me and someone says, "Oh, don't worry, it's, you know, everything happens for a reason," fucking hell, so smash them in the face, man. That being said, I do almost like believe in like the butterfly effect. So because of things that have happened in the past 5 years, I've then, like, you know, done certain things or moved certain places or met certain people, and I wouldn't want to change that. However, I do wish I'd have like acted differently in some situations over the past few years. Not necessarily to other people, just how like I held myself, and yeah, how I responded and how I reacted to certain situations, like past like bad relationships, how I reacted to them, how long it took me to, you know, get over it and, you know, move on, things like that. So I wouldn't say I'd change like anything huge. I would just probably try and react and act a little bit differently to certain things that have happened to me and like just that happen in general over the past 5 years. Again, I don't know if that's a good answer or not. And then lastly, plans for business in the next 2 to 3 years. So obviously spoke about this a bit about the start in terms of like online coaching. Now, obviously, at the minute, like I say, 95% of my business, 90% of my business is people doing Hyrox. Anyone who follows me on Insta will know the fucking horrendous question about when do you think Hyrox is going to go die down. I'm not getting into that, but obviously Hyrox will at some point die down and get a little bit quieter. There's no evidence or inkling that that's going to be anytime soon, so that's fine. But I guess for now, just to keep training people, coaching people, as many people as I can to get fast at Hyrox, because I do genuinely enjoy it. Like I said before, I think it's a really good race. I think the training for it is great. I think it gives people the element of competition. I don't think I'll stop one-to-one coaching anytime soon. I think I'll always really enjoy that. I think the only thing I would say is that obviously being self-employed, and even though things are good right now, there is always that worry or that risk or that danger in the back of your mind that this could stop one day. And you know, I could wake up tomorrow and 15, 20 clients could say, oh, I'm stopping next month. And then you go from being in a really good position to being in a bit of trouble. And again, there's no evidence that that's going to happen, but it is always a slight worry. And I can deal with that now because I'm only looking after myself and like I'll figure it out. But I think a few years down the line, when I do have a family and I have people that depend on me and I have, you know, people to look after, I'm not sure how I will deal with that pressure. And I'm not sure if it's fair on my future family to have to deal with that pressure, if that makes sense. So coming full circle to that, I would probably quite like to have something a little bit more secure in terms of like a constant guaranteed revenue stream. I know nothing is guaranteed or constant, but like in terms of working for someone or being part of a bigger company, and do have a few options for that over the next half a year or year. So that's probably something I will explore. But for right now, I'm actually not that great at looking too far ahead, which I think is a blessing and a curse. But right now, just to keep doing what I'm doing, because I do genuinely really, really enjoy it. And I don't really think there's much right now that I would change about my day-to-day life. But yeah, that was 12, 13, maybe I sort of seem to lose count somewhere along the line there. Questions about me. I hope you all enjoyed. This will be going out tonight. I'm just going to upload it straight away, which is Tuesday the 6th of May. And then moving forward, I am in Berlin the following weekend, which I think is the 17th, 18th and 19th of May. So I race on the Saturday, do my first pro singles, and then Sunday morning with Cole doing men's doubles, which should be interesting. That could be the slowest Hyrox of all time. Whether or not we get out of bed for that one, I do not know. But I will, again, vlog my entire training week up to that, and then also vlog the weekend. Got quite a lot of clients there, quite a lot of the boys are going over, so it should be a really good weekend. Very anxious about my first pro solo, and also quite anxious about the fact that I've actually not done a solo since November. So what's that, 7 months? 6, 7 months? So that should be interesting. Got a number in my head. Whether I get anywhere close to that, I do not know, but we will find out on the next video. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Peace.